All right, there is two opposite stories by the Alter Rebbe. One story where he was willing to do anything and everything that there should not be any stopping of learning Chassidut, the teachings of Chassidut. And the other is exactly the opposite, that he suggested maybe we should stop learning Chassidut. And now I'll tell you the stories. The first story was that the first Rebbe was walking, the Alter Rebbe, the first Rebbe, Reb Shner Zalman. He was the youngest of all the Chassidim. He was walking once with the Maggid of Mezrich and another Chassid. According to the way I heard the story, it was Reb Pinchas of Koritz. Pinchas of Koritz. And he was very against the printing out and distributing words of Chassidic teachings. And the Maggid of Mezrich did. He was for it. Once they were walking down the street, now you'll hear different versions of the story, but this is the way I heard it. They were walking down the street and they saw a page of Chassidut in the gutter, in the street. And Reb Pinchas, of course, bent down and picked it up. And he said, see, you see, I'm right. This is the result of your taking the holy ideas of Chassidut and spreading them around. It falls in the gutter. The holy Torah is being defiled. And the Alter Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe was called the Old Rebbe because he was the first one of Chabad, but he was the youngest of the pupils. He said, I want to tell you a mashal, a parable that will explain it. Once upon a time, there was a king that had a beautiful, talented, powerful son, intelligent, great leader, but he became sick. The son became sick and every day became weaker and weaker. And the king brought greater and greater doctors and professors and experts, and they couldn't heal him. It just got worse and worse. Until finally, he found one expert that came. And this expert said, I know the cure, but it might be too late. The king said, whatever it is, I'm willing to do it. So he said, well, you have to take the diamond from your crown. This was like a diamond that weighed like 2 pounds, and it was perfectly cut. It was beautiful. It was just the glory of the kingdom. And you have to take this crown and grind it up. And then you have to put it into water, and you have to get your son to drink it. He's in pretty bad shape. So it's a big, big doubt if he's going to be able to drink it. First of all, it's not so easy to grind it up and put it into water. But I know how to do that. But then you have to get your son to drink it. It's a big doubt if anything is going to get past his lips. And if it gets past his lips, it's a big doubt if he's going to be able to swallow it. He'll probably spit it out. But if he swallows even the smallest drop, that'll save him. The king said, it's worthwhile. I'm willing to do anything. And he took the crown off, and this wise man ground up the diamond, and he gave the son to drink. And sure enough, 99% of it didn't even go into his mouth. He spit it out. And what did go into his mouth, 99% of that he spit out. But a thousandth, whatever of a percent, he did swallow, and that saved it. Said the first Rebbe of Chabad, this is a parable. The crown is the Torah. The diamond are the secrets of the Torah. The king is God. The king's son are the Jewish people. The Jewish people are sick. They're losing consciousness. The only thing that'll bring them back to life is if we grind up the secrets of the Torah and we administer it to them. And if it's very difficult if they'll understand, if it'll even go in, if they're willing to listen, and if they do listen, that if they'll utilize it. But if a little tiny bit goes in that changes one person a little bit, then that'll save the Jewish people. There'll be a little bit of truth in the world. Story number one. Opposite story. When the first Rebbe of Chabad was put into, same first Rebbe of Chabad, but now he was older and he was imprisoned by his enemies. And he was put into Tsar's prison, and death was looming over his head. He was like on death row. And when he was there, so it was in Petersburg, a cold cell. So there came to visit him his two teachers that had already passed away years before, the Maggid of Mezrich and the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov, he had only seen when he was 3 years old. But nevertheless, these two came physically, they were physically there in the room. And he asked them, why am I here? And they said, because you're spreading out the teachings of Chassidut. Too much. Too much. You're doing it in too great an amount. So he said, well, maybe I should stop. And they said, don't stop. We don't know if you should have started in such a great amount, but since you started, don't stop, do even more. Asks the Lubavitcher Rebbe a question. Oh, Rebbe, right? Question. How could the first Rebbe that just previously, years earlier, he said, made this whole entire story up about the king's crown, you have to crush in order to save the son, not to stop learning Chassidut, not to spread it out. And now all of a sudden he's saying, maybe I should stop. Maybe I should stop. So the Rebbe said the answer is very simple. First of all, the first case, it was to save the Jewish people. To save the Jewish people, that they shouldn't assimilate, that they should hold on to their Jewish identity, that they should feel that God is real, that God is close, that God is infinite, God is it. And that can only be done through Chassidut, to save the Jewish people. They shouldn't give up, they shouldn't give up. The second time he was talking about bringing the Mashiach. The Jewish people were already saved. They have Jewish identity, Chassidut is being taught, learned. But now it is to bring Mashiach. And bring Mashiach can only be brought if you learn a lot of Chassidut. The world has to be filled with Chassidut. So the Rebbe said, maybe the time is not yet. Maybe the time is not right. That's why I put it into prison, because justly so, I jumped the gun. I tried to force something that the time has not come. Huh? Like advertising, a wedding. My son is getting married to this girl, and they never even met yet. Right? Maybe you can't do a thing like that. So the rabbi said, no, maybe you shouldn't have started, maybe, but now that you did start, the time is right. You have to do more and more. So that's where we are now. We have to learn Chassidut and teach Chassidut and understand Chassidut as much as possible, to take it to our hearts, ask a lot of questions, and try to really be interested in the answers. And if you're not satisfied, ask more questions, and then we'll all dance together with Mashiach now. Have a good Shabbat, and we'll meet together, God willing, on Sunday. Yom Shon, 8:15 in the morning.